All right, so the Heisman Trophy ceremony is taking place this weekend in New York City, and we know that one LSU Tiger will be there. That, of course, be right now. He's the odds-on favorite to win it. I expect him to win it. I've already had many conversations at work today with people. Who do you think's going to win? You know, who's the favorite right now? It is Jaden Daniels because Bo Nix was less than stellar in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon was favored to win that game. He didn't play well. They didn't play well. And instead, fellow Heisman Trophy finalist Michael Penix from Washington beats Oregon, wins the Pac-12 title. And if anyone's going to win the Heisman that's not Jaden Daniels, I think it should be Penix because he beat Bo Nix twice. He led this Washington team to a 13-0 season, not to mention a great season last year, and he's putting up excellent numbers in the process of doing that. Now, who's the fourth person attending the ceremony? Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, big name, obviously. His dad played in the NFL, was a great at my school, Syracuse. So, you know, certainly a great player and has great genes, I guess you could say. And he certainly, looked like his father at Ohio State. He's a good football player. I saw him play against Michigan in the game, 2 weeks ago. And he put up 67 receptions this season. That's quite a bit. Over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. I think that was either tied for second in the country or something like that. He was up there in the top 3 for receiving touchdowns this season. So a great year. But does he deserve to be at the Heisman ceremony over Malik Nabers? I think he got snubbed. Malik Nabers is he's not done yet. He's going to play in the bowl game, the ReliaQuest Bowl against Wisconsin. He's having one of the best receiving seasons in LSU football history. Set the school record for career catches, is about 20 yards short of setting the career receiving yardage record. And mind you, he's not a 6th year, 7th year, even 5th year COVID senior. He's a 3rd-year player with the Tigers. And he's putting up all of this production in such a little time. 1,000 yards last year. Already over 1,000 this year. He's going to add some more in that bowl game, assuming he does play. He said he's going to play, so I feel like he's a man of his word, right? He should be the one going to the Heisman Trophy ceremony in New York, along with Jaden Daniels. And maybe it's a case of, well, we don't want to send 2 guys from the same school. Okay, but look, this isn't the College Football Playoff Committee. This isn't Florida State versus Alabama versus Georgia. This is Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Malik Nabers. And the people that vote on who goes to the ceremony, the fans a little bit, but also the Heisman voters, which are writers, members of the media across the country. And I don't understand how you can sit there with a straight face, look at the facts, look at the numbers, watch the games. I hope you watch the games. They must not have watched the games. And tell me that Malik Nabers does not deserve to be at this ceremony while Marvin Harrison does. As far as Nabers' numbers go, I mean, they're great numbers. 86 catches, so more than Marvin Harrison. 1,500 yards plus, more than Marvin Harrison. 14 touchdowns, which is tied for Harrison. He also had a running one, too. Marv did, so, I mean, whatever. Look, the numbers are comparable, and if anything, Nabers' numbers are better. And you might sit there and say, oh, well, he padded his stats against Army and Georgia State, whatever. And fine, I get that. Maybe he did. He played in those games deep, definitely had some extra catches, some extra yards. But what you can't dispute is the fact that week after week, Nabers showed up and was elite. This LSU offense wouldn't be half as good without Malik Nabers. I know Jaden Daniels had an incredible season, and he's an awesome player, but, I mean, he had the best receiver in the SEC. I think the best receiver in the country in Malik Nabers. This LSU offense isn't what it is without Nabers, without Daniels. He should be at that ceremony. His numbers are better. And he never had a bad game this season. His worst game this year was the first one against Florida State. And tell me if this is a bad game. 6 catches for 67 yards. That's not really that bad. And not to mention, it was the first game of the year. This LSU offense week 1 is nothing like it was even week 3 against Mississippi State. In the biggest games this year, 100 yards against Ole Miss. That was a ranked team, a pretty solid defense. 146 and a touchdown against Missouri. Another really solid defense. 89 against Auburn. Great defense there. 171 with 10 catches against Alabama. 6 catches, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns against Texas A&M. He did not have a bad game. He did not have a bad week. Week after week, it was domination, and that's why LSU's offense put up video game numbers every single Saturday. How about Marvin Harrison? Here we go. 2 catches for 18 yards against Indiana. All right, fine. Week 1 of the season, throw it out the window. Couple weeks later, against Notre Dame, probably the biggest competition before Michigan they played all year. 3 catches, 32 yards. Nabers had double that in the first game of the year, which we threw out the window because it was week 1. All right, a few weeks later, beginning of November, he should be playing his best football, right? 4 catches, 25 yards against Rutgers. And then he had 3 catches for 30 yards against Minnesota. This guy had off games. Sure, he went off a couple weeks. He'd go for 160, 150. But I just told you what Nabers' numbers were against Alabama, against Missouri, against Mississippi State. He had 240 in a game. I don't see that on here. I am very unhappy that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to this ceremony. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's not like Ohio State went 11-1, 12-0, beat Michigan, is in the playoff, and he had a lot to do with that. No, they're just a measly 11-1 team without a Big Ten championship, without a quality win, and they're not in the playoff. Neither is LSU. So take that argument out of the window as well. I don't know. I'm not happy about it. They're very comparable. The numbers are comparable. The resumes are comparable. And if anything, Nabers is better at each of those things. So what exactly is Marvin Harrison Jr. doing in New York City? Someone please tell me, because I don't know. And it's, frankly, it's a disgrace. It really is, because Nabers had an excellent season. He deserves to be there. Has nothing to do with sending 2 schools. It has everything to do with him being the best wide receiver in college football this year. And he should be there. He's going to win the Biletnikoff, and he probably should be top 3 in the Heisman voting too.